Dispatchers help callers on the worst days of their lives. For over 25 years, we've been there. A silent partner in millions of calls thanks to our redundant and diverse networks that ensure call delivery. Today, cities are bigger, traffic more congested, and the challenge is more complex. But you're never alone, because InDigital is quietly improving, implementing, and driving the next generation of 911, so you're supported in every situation. Make the switch at indigital.net.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital, a leader next-gen core services, and a big shout-out to patrons as well as subscribers on Facebook and Circle. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if it wasn't for all of you, but especially for all of you who are watching, listening, supporting, and sharing. Thank you for everything. We are here currently live in the vendor hall of the 2024 Atlantic APCO Conference in Portland, Maine. It has been an awesome week already. They're going to be doing some giveaways here, so you might hear them in the background. Maybe not. I don't know. Depends on how good I am with the editing piece. Either way, we're going to have some fun here. So my guest today is Scottie, and Scottie's with the Cumberland County Regional Communications as well, out of Maine. How's it going?
Good.
All right. Welcome.
Thanks.
How's this week been going for you?
It's been informative.
Oh, well, that's good at least.
Yes. I've had a good time. I've had some employees with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to show them around, some new time conference goers.
That's awesome.
So it's been fun.
So this isn't your first time at the conference?
This particular conference,
Oh,
yes,
this one, this
but I've
specific
been
one.
to a few.
What is some of the things that you like about conferences, especially with the employees that you have with you, that you're able to tell them, like, make sure to network or, kind of branch out? Or what are some of the things that you like about the conference?
Networking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because we all are the same in certain ways, right? It's just like for myself going to different dispatch centers and such. There's one thing that I've noticed that all dispatch centers have, and that is the chair graveyard.
Yes.
What is with that?
Sure.
What do you think is up with that?
Well, you can't please everybody with a chair. And some body types are different.
Very
obviously.
true. Right. Yep.
Some people are harder on chairs than other people.
Okay. Well, let me give you another example. There was one chair that we had that one specific supervisor would not let us get rid of, but also it turned out a bunch of the other dispatchers loved it as well. This chair, the specific chair, like the back piece of it was like all the way back. Like you couldn't put it up anymore. The seat was like all stained to hell, and it was still soft though. It was still bouncy. I don't know how, but it still was. And then the armrest, like you could tell, like you could see where whoever was sitting there had been like picking pieces out of it from like stress.
Or the keyboard tray.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But that was the chair that everybody wanted.
We have one employee that has his own chair.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody else uses Mike's chair.
Yeah.
Because it's Mike's chair.
Well,
and when he goes on vacation, it goes in the back room because it's Mike's chair.
Nice. Well, that's kind of what happened with ours as well. Somebody was always hiding it. And I think someone had said too, is like, I put that out in the garage so that someone would get rid of it. I was like, well, that shit is back in here. So, I mean, I liked using it as well, but I was ready for them to get rid of it. But then the other chairs that ended up coming, it was like,
yeah,
we'll just pull the other ones back.
Yep. They're not as good.
Yeah, exactly. So you have been in public safety for about 20 years now, right?
Yes.
Man, very nice.
Been in
Well
dispatch
done.
for 20 years. Before that, I was a volunteer EMT.
So how did you get in public safety to begin with?
Family.
Family.
Yep.
Just like a family history?
Yeah.
Or
Yep. My grandfather was fire chief for the little small town that we're in, and I just kind of fell into it that way.
So starting out as an EMT first, did you like go straight from high school to being an
I
EMT?
started in high school.
You started in high school.
Yes.
Okay, what grade?
11.
What?
Junior. Yep.
Okay, so I've spoken to a few people who have been in public safety when they were in high school. Now, while everyone is going out like partying or whatever, like you're saving lives.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You're going out there. What was that like for you in school? Because you're a junior, so you still got another year to go, right?
Yep.
Did they know that that's what you were doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, so would they be asking you about stories and everything else? Like, I mean, even with that, like, you know, you're in that high school environment. There's certain things that you're thinking, right? But for you specifically, you've got these like lives, like people that already that you're dealing with, and it's a completely different mindset. What was that like for you?
Well, I had some friends that were more in the party scene, so I didn't involve myself in the party scene as much because I got to live through them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, I remember I was in dispatch. And there were some people who would come up and go, I know that person. I went to high school with that person. Stop fighting in bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you kind of had the tea a little bit with some of that. Did you ever have people who would say, so what happened with so-and-so? Do you know what happened?
Not so much back then.
Yeah.
But as you know, after high school and as I got into dispatch a little bit more, that's when I would have a little bit more information.
Interesting. So what brought you to dispatch then?
Just to see what the other side was like. And I stuck.
Well, like Tanisha and I were
It
talking,
never
like
left.
it gets into your blood.
Absolutely.
It's like hit the vein with it.
It's like an
it gets in your
addiction.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are running calls. You hear what's going on the other side of the radio, and you're just like, I kind of want to pop in there.
Yeah.
Like, did you do a sit along at all?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Not before I put in my application.
Holy shit! So you just kind of went in. So you just went off of what you were listening to. You're like, I kind of want to try it.
Yeah.
So you walk in, let's say that first day, and what do you see? Do you remember what the layout looked like?
Oh, of course I do.
Okay, tell me. Yes. So what was it like?
We had 3 rinky-dink little stations.
Yeah.
You know, this was 2004, so
The poor stations.
there wasn't a whole lot of technology.
Yeah.
And 4 crusty old guys sitting there.
Yes. Well done, crusty guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
It was in a fallout shelter. So it was in a bunker.
what?
So there was no windows. There was no sunlight. The only connection to the outside world that we had was a screen about this big, about 3x3, that was black and white. It was
What?
the camera on the front door. Yeah.
What the hell? Okay. Why was it in the bunker, I guess?
It's the safest place to be.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true. Yes, that is very true. Yeah. If, bomb hits or something, you're safe. You're in there. There's nobody else out in the world, but you're there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So I've been to a few dispatch centers that have been like in a basement and stuff. And, you go in there and it's so dark already. Even if there's lights on, it just feels dark, right?
Yeah.
And you go in there and you think, okay, like, and then.
Yeah, and I'm in a haunted fallout shelter.
Yeah, was it haunted?
Oh, yes.
Okay, now you have to tell me about this. What do you mean it was haunted?
We had things fly across the floor, fly across the room. One of our supervisors had a glass vase chucked at her head in the kitchen.
Dude, this is some Twilight Zone shit. It's not enough that you're in a fallout shelter, but it's haunted as well.
Uh-huh.
How old was this?
I think it was built in the 50s.
Wait a minute. You guys don't still work in the same place, do you?
We work above the bunker now.
Okay. Well, so hold on. So, okay, you're in the same
Yes, it was
area.
still haunted.
You're above the bunker.
Yes.
Do you ever go
Same
down?
energies.
Do you still go down there and like check it out or like show the new folks like this is where we used to be?
They go down there.
Okay, so now that you're a level up, do you at least have a bigger window
Yes.
of camera, or
We have windows.
are there windows?
We have windows.
Oh, that makes me feel better. Okay, I can't imagine being in there. I mean, you're dealing with enough stressful shit as it is.
Yeah.
And then you probably just have the fluorescent light bulbs just like killing your insides,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
But you're taking phone calls, adding the stress. Probably when you walk out that day and you see the sun or whatever,
It hurts.
and you're like a vampire. Like, you end up hissing right when you walk out, or you're like Andy Dufresne on Shawshank Redemption after he's gone through that pipe of shit, and you're like free finally.
Yes. It's the as you walk out the door.
Oh my God, I cannot even imagine being in a bunker, dude. That would. How big was it? Was it small?
Like maybe 10 by 20. You know, the room that we were in, the whole bunker was bigger.
Okay.
But the one room that we had was not very big.
This is craziness. Okay, so how long did you spend your out of your 20 years? How long were you guys in there before you moved up a level?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
It wasn't long term.
Either way, it's like 6 months could be traumatizing.
Yeah.
Hell. Wow. Okay, so you were there for 2 years, but okay, let's. You got me with the whole haunted bunker thing. Like for real, this is some Alfred Hitchcock shit. Like, oh my God. So you end up getting in there into the bunker. And you're looking at it. I mean, like, how many monitors are there other than the crusty dudes?
When we started, we had a computer monitor, computer monitor,
Yeah.
and one radio monitor,
Wow.
and one 911 monitor.
You're going through. So what was it like in the beginning then? Because now you're going from being out in the field. You're no longer hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like for you going from being out in the field now on the phone and you're just listening and I mean, a lot of us feel helpless as it is.
It's hard.
But now you're making this transition. What
Yeah.
was that like?
It's hard not being able to help.
Mm-hmm.
It feels hopeless
Right.
sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So do you remember some of those earlier calls in the beginning?
Not that I could recall.
Yeah.
In a short-term memory.
Right.
A lot of that stuffed in the backpack and
Oh, for sure. Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of it. And that's how we do it sometimes,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of them get stuffed in the back. How about just like calls in general? You know, some of those that have been kind of memorable.
I have a few.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, please. If you feel comfortable enough to discuss, what are some of those that you remember?
My most memorable call, and I'm part of the onboard training for new hires.
Yes.
So they're with me for the first couple of weeks, and I use one of your Imagine Listening programs, one of the episodes, and I play this call for them. It was a lady who was having an allergic reaction to a bee sting.
Mm-hmm.
She was alone. She couldn't get her EpiPen open. The ambulance of her town was already committed to something, so I knew her ambulance was coming from 2 towns over, and she's progressively getting worse until I didn't hear her breathing at all. I luckily was sitting beside someone who could send an officer, a law enforcement officer, who was able to get there and administer the EpiPen before the ambulance got there. And it was like, I breathed when she breathed, because I think I had stopped breathing.
I just probably see it in the camera. I took a breath when you took a breath just now.
Yeah.
Just listening to that.
Yep. It was intense.
Wow.
Yep.
And you know, when calls like that happen, sometimes you don't get a chance to go and decompress.
Yeah.
Right. So after that call, you just went to the next one.
That one I did have to step off.
Mm-hmm.
That one I did have to leave because I felt more connected to that one than in a lot of the others for whatever reason.
Oh, I'm glad that you had the chance though to be able to do that, because it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have gone totally different if that officer wasn't close enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, with your time that you've gone through there, did you become like a CTO as well, or have you done any training or anything?
Yep.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Excuse me. And I always ask CTOs this. So for you, what was your inspiration to do it? Because it's always one of two things. Either a person had shit training and a shit trainer, and they want to, for those, like, help mold that next generation, literally that next generation of 911 coming in, so that they don't have to deal with what they dealt with. Or the flip side is they had good training and an awesome trainer, and they want to continue that legacy of or that cycle of like good. So
I think it
what
was
for
more
you?
so at the time the good training.
Yeah.
Because I started training when I was just a year in. So I was progressed far enough in my knowledge base and skill base that they trusted me to train someone new.
I like how you laugh like that, because it's almost as if you're this is just an observation, but the way you laughed just now when you were that realization, it was almost like they friggin' trusted me, like, and you were probably thinking when they told you that you were going to start training and stuff, like,
It was either me or them.
Yeah,
so.
like, are you sure I should be doing this? Like, oh, that's funny. No, I know that feeling as well, because when I was in dispatch, we were so short-staffed so we had 3 actual CTOs. And then everyone became trainers.
Yes.
Because we needed to get everybody out there. And I remember our bosses telling us, like, all of you are going to be trainers now. We're like, we got to go through the certification process. They're like, no, you're just all going to be trainers. You know how to do your thing. You know how to do it. So obviously, with the training that you had coming into dispatch, all of that experience, those couple of years, and what you were doing progressively throughout that year, you're kicking ass and taking names. You're like, hey, now it's your turn.
Yeah.
You're probably like, okay.
Pretty much.
Like, I think I'm ready. But then, you end up doing it, and you just, I don't know, maybe you feel like this as well. It's just because, like we were saying, it gets in your blood really quick. Mm-hmm. You want to help that person because maybe there was something that you weren't told, and maybe you found out by yourself, and you want to pass that on to whoever's coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think that's why I picked up the onboarding training, mm-hmm. the classroom academy part of it, was that for a few years we didn't do that. And we saw a big shift in the skill base when they actually started taking the calls, when we were able to give them that foundation and the background training before they went on the floor.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So do you do all disciplines of public safety? Like
yes.
you do police, fire, EMS, all of it? Okay. So what is, I guess, what would be your favorite part? Would you rather do phones? Would you rather do like medical calls, or is radios more your thing?
It depends on the day.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, no, that's a good answer as well.
Yeah.
Because there's some people who will be like, no, radios all day.
Yeah.
I'll take radios all day. And others are like, I'll take medicals all day. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I was fine with being phones. Like, I love being on phones, but doing medicals all day, every day, nah, son.
Yeah.
Like, not for me.
Yeah. No, it depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depends on what I'm feeling.
Yeah, there would be times where I would tell my family, like, yeah, I was on the radios. Someone said they were in a chase. I'm like, hell yes, let's do this. And they're like, what do you mean, hell yes? I'm like, that's why I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there to help out, and it's a hot call, and I'm helping them out.
Yeah.
I said, that's what I mean. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't understand. But yeah, other times I would say, or they would ask me, like, how's dispatch been, lately? And I'll go, well, it's been kind of slow. And they just kind of look at me.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what they would say. Like, doesn't that mean that people don't need help? I'm like, yes. No, you are right. For normies, you are right? The general public, yes. But for us,
but it's boring.
And we want to help. Like, that's the point. That's why we're there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after the explanation, they would go, oh, okay. But then, like, still kind of give a side eye. Like, sorry, you don't understand. So for those 20 years, as we're kind of going into the wrap up of this episode, doesn't even feel like we've been talking that long. And we're already going into the 20-minute mark here, which is awesome. But how do you kind of feel like the job has changed you out of these 20 years?
So much. I'm not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, my home life has changed as well. I've
Yeah.
been married for 21 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I have an 18-year-old son. So that happened while I was at dispatch as well. So
Very cool.
life outside has changed.
Right.
But even interacting with friends, I don't have the same friends I did. I've changed.
Yeah, well, because a lot of times, you get, and this is just like an example from me. People will invite you places like, if I get a chance, I'll go. Thank you for the invite. And then after a while, the invites start going away. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I just work a lot, man. I don't mean to work a lot, but this is what I do. So yeah, I can see that where there's a lot that has changed. Also, like if I see somebody walking by, I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, it could be a dog going by. Like, what's that dog doing? What's going on?
Much more observant.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, observant, hyper, focused on certain things. And like even from like some trainings and stuff, I'll be sitting at a restaurant and I'm like,
And I
don't
hear
want-
everything.
Yeah, hear everything, but also like I don't want my back facing the door.
Mhm.
Like, I want to see what's going
Mhm.
on.
Absolutely.
Yes. So in those ways, it has changed as well. And
Yep.
it sounds like there's some of those that you can relate to.
Absolutely.
So as we go into the wrap up of this, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Tanisha earlier in the previous episode. With your 20 years, if you could go back in time to talk to yourself at the beginning of your career, what would you tell yourself?
Get a therapist.
Get it right away. Look at that. Right off the bat. Yes.
And you're going to change.
Mhm.
You're not going to be the same person in 20 years.
Wow. I'm glad that you said that as well. There's a lot of people who have like alluded to that, and that is good. Please, if you need help, get therapy. Find some therapy. And also, it's okay if that therapist isn't the right person for you. Like, you can
for
tell that
sure.
person, right? Yeah, until you find the person that is right for you, that truly understands and everything, keep doing it.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on. This has been awesome. I appreciate it. And for those who are watching and listening, if you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us. And that is going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is wttpodcast@gmail.com. The easiest way to do all of this is to go to links.co/WTT podcast. You'll find everything there. Email, social media, where to schedule an episode with me. If you are new to dispatch, seasoned, or retired, I would love to share your story to literally millions around the world. So I'll be looking for you. Hit up that link. And this episode has been sponsored by InDigital, a leader in next-gen core services that can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, as well as X and LinkedIn Live. And you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app. There's a lot of stuff, right?
It's a lot.
And within the trenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one.